Hello everyone, and I will say one thing, the Kratos headers are tired of them, they no longer know anything to answer in general and do not know the context and cannot properly explain their arguments, and all the Kratos headers infuriate me, especially DGA Gaming, which hides like a coward and is afraid to argue with Warrior Z. But let me explain again for the headers of Kratos how the God of War cosmology works and tell you. Otherwise, the headers of Kratos would have already shut their mouths as a whole and not opened their mouths to someone they don't know. And so they drove.
So is this a continuation of the Kratos we've already played as, or is this a new incarnation? Are you talking about that yet?
Continuation. Okay. So it is like, the way I kind of see the mythologies is kind of like that Hubble telescope image of all of the galaxies.
The ultra deep field.
Yeah. So that image shows the universe with all of its individual galaxies. Each galaxy is kind of like a representation of a mythology, and sort of wrap that around the Earth. And at any given moment, all of these mythological belief systems existed. They all deal with a creation myth around their region. It's just separated by geography. So that while the height of some of these...
So what did Cory Barlog say? He presents mythologies as galaxies from the Hubble telescope, which means that he presents mythologies as separate from each other and that these galaxies revolve around one Earth. And let me explain the context. Each mythology, according to Cory Barlog, represents its own belief system and different cultures, and it's all geographically separated, and it's funny because Kratos destroyed the world in Gris, it's the whole world in Gris, and everything is just divided by geographical planes, where each mythology takes place at the same time, and that each mythology created, I create my own universe, and every mythology has stories about the creation of its own universe. So we understood the context from the words of Cory Barlog, which means that every mythology has its own universe with dimensions. And the fact that it is located on one planet does not refute anything. Since I explained the context, and you can understand that one Earth contains these realities and dimensions. And I will even show posts by Cory Barlog and Meth Sof, which are all they also explain. Cory Barlog explicitly says in his posts that every mythology or religion is a universe, and he also burns about the belief system and geography in general, so Cory Barlog explicitly says that every mythology is a universe. Matthew Sov bluntly says that all this is a correct interpretation, that every mythology has created its own real universe, and that this has power, which already makes it clear that every mythology is a universe with its own dimensions. Now let's talk about Yggdrasil. Many people will say that DGA Gaming said that Yggdrasil is not infinite, but he himself is trying to explain that Yggdrasil is infinite, but let me explain why Yggdrasil is infinite. This is confirmed in the novel, where it is explicitly stated that Yggdrasil is infinite in size and each of its branches surpasses space and time, which makes Yggdrasil infinite. And even Cory Barlog and the official God of War website confirmed that Yggdrasil is infinite in size. Now let's move on to the worlds. All 9 worlds are surrounded by one space, but this does not refute anything, and so Freya says that each world separates one space, but the fact is that they overlap on top of each other, which in itself does not refute anything, since it is not explicitly written here that they are in one space, but they say that they overlap on top of each other. And if we read further, we will understand that each world is literally built on top of the others, planes of existence, which makes it clear that the 9 worlds are other dimensions. Each world has its own different reality, because if you enter the 9 worlds, you will realize that even your reality will change, which makes it clear that each of the 9 worlds is a different reality. Surtur created outer space in all 9 worlds with stars in the likeness of the universe, and each world has a different space and time. And so that's it. I hope I've explained everything clearly and clearly once again. And yes, don't listen to DGA Gaming. He's like all headers, beauty can only find fault, and still don't listen to him.